We got the Matrix, aka Charles Manson, aka Baby Jesus. Kyler Phillips at number 14, ranked in the bantamweight division. He's a minus 270 favorite against the plus 220 Raulian Paiva. Man, now Paiva, one thing you need to know, folks, if you're like a bantamweight, this dude's a flyweight, right? He was ranked number 12 in flyweight. He is now vowed to never go back down to flyweight. He is now a bantamweight, and this is a short notice fight. I believe that Kyler Phillips was supposed to fight Rafael Sunsao, and this is the thing that ended up happening. Sunsao had to pull out for whatever reason. Now we have Paiva. A little bit of a dud matchup to me personally. I like Paiva, but you're moving up, all that good stuff. He was long in flyweight, not very long in bantamweight. But let's talk about it, man. Kyler Phillips, I think this is going to be what I like to call a showcase fight for Kyler Phillips. One where he's supposed to put all his tools on display. All his skills need to be shown, and he needs to make a statement. You can't just decision this guy up and expect to get a lot of hype, man, especially because Kyler Phillips, he has a big social media presence right now. Like, this dude has really done a lot to raise his profile, which is, impressive because this is an entertainment business just as much as it is the fight business, the hurt business, right? AJ, let me ask you this off of the bat, man. What type of performance, and I obviously said he needs to do something impressive, he needs to finish. What type of performance do you think is going to be necessary for Kyler Phillips to really boost his stock? Like, what are we seeing exactly?
I think we're going to need to see a late first round KO from Kyler Phillips. When I was looking into this fight, Raulian Paiva, as impressed as I was with him at 125, I'm not that impressed with him at 135. He's going to be the smaller guy coming in. They're both 5'8". Kyler Phillips has the reach advantage. So that's not how Paiva's used to fighting. Paiva's used to be the longer, taller guy. Where I am interested to see what happens is if Paiva actually puts on some size, adds a little bit of strength to him, and has that chin going forward. Personally, though, Kyler Phillips, man, he needs to put on, like you said, a performance of a showstopper where he's throwing mad spinning kicks, elbows, crazy things out of left field. Really a performance of the night victory for Kyler Phillips is what we need to see. And what I like really about him, I was watching, I just blanked the name of the coach out in Colorado, Coach Justin Gaethje. Help me out.
Trevor Whitman.
Trevor Whitman. I was watching a Trevor Whitman video where he was talking about when to counter strike a person. And it's not as soon as they go back or as soon as, they've already planted their foot. Because once they plant their front foot, they can change direction after that. It's right in that middle zone, right where they fully committed to the go, but haven't quite stepped on it yet. And I was watching Kyler Phillips fights. That's exactly. He knows intuitively how to counter strike. He knows intuitively once he gets your timing, he knows when that second is, and that's when he strikes, and that's what makes him very, very dangerous. Once he has your timing, he doesn't hesitate. And I think that's what we need to see from Kyler Phillips is that non-hesitation, throwing crazy shots, late KO in the first round. I think that's what not only skyrocket Kyler Phillips up as much as he needs to be. I think this dude's going to be the future of the division going forward. We're going to see some impressive stuff, but as well as kind of put on blast Paiva for I guess a lackluster fighting style that he's been known to have. He looks very long and lanky in all his other fights, but he's a lot more fundamental. And we've talked about this before. Tim Duncan, big fundamental. This it's not a disgrace to be fundamentally sound. It's actually very good. You can get a lot done, like Khabib as well, very fundamentally on the ground. But he just doesn't have the flash or the striking prowess that Kyler Phillips has. Paiva is a lot more fundamental and utilizes it very, very well, but he leans on his speed and timing a lot, which in this one, I don't think he's going to have the advantage of that. His speed and timing are a lot, or at least from the tape film, a lot slower and not as precise as Kyler Phillips. What do you think, Derek? How's this one going to play out?
Well, I'll tell you what I think I need to see from Kyler Phillips to make this very impressive, man. He needs to showcase that Nikita Kai black belt that he has, man. And folks, if you don't remember what Nikita Kai is, it's 5 different martial arts. It's like Aikido, Muay Thai, kickboxing, or maybe not kickboxing, karate. Let me see. I think I got it written down over here. Muay Thai, Aikido, Judo, Kabuto, and Shokin Ryu Karate, right? So you need to showcase all of those skill sets that you have. And just as much as you said that Raulian Paiva is a basic fundamental fighter, Kyler Phillips also prides himself on being a very basic fighter. He says he actually works really, really hard on being a basic fighter, using just the standard techniques to inflict real deal damage. Let's not forget this man trains at the MMA lab. That's over where Sean O'Malley trains. I think that there's another really big fighter that I think TJ Dillashaw was was actually training at the MMA lab for a little bit too. Right now, I have him listed as fighting under like the training lab or whatever it's called. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, this man has surrounded himself with legit like contenders in the UFC. And I mean, if you could hang with those guys, man, come on, that's just saying something right there. So Kyler Phillips, I agree. I think if this goes out of the first round, it's going to be a little disappointing for most of the people who are expecting just something crazy to see from him. However, we do need to know he's not the most volume type fighter. You know what I'm saying? He does land about 5 significant strikes per minute at a very high clip, 61%, man, very impressive. But I'm interested to see this, AJ. I'm interested to see if Paiva says, okay, yeah, I know you're dangerous in the striking. Let me test out my black belt against you. You know what I mean? Kyler Phillips, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've read, he doesn't have a black belt specifically like in jiu-jitsu. Like I said, his main focus has been Nikita Kai. So I'm really interested to see how he can fight off of his back. Now, Kyler Phillips actually does initiate more takedowns than Paiva, man. So it'll be interesting, but I think that if he wants to boost his stock, he needs to keep this fight on the feet and he needs to knock out Paiva in the first round or submit him in the first round. Whatever, that would actually be more impressive, submitting him in the first round, because Kyler Phillips, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 3 decisions. Paiva also, though, we do have to know, man, not in the big show, but on the regional scene, Paiva has a lot more experience, man. He's 20-3 overall. Kyler Phillips only has 10 fights, 9-1. So it'll be really, really interesting. At the end of the day, Paiva has an 80% takedown defense, man. So, listen, I think that the minus 270 favorite in the Matrix, Kyler Phillips, is going to put on a show. It'll be a big surprise if Paiva gets the dub. However, Paiva is not a scrub by any stretch of the imagination, man. And this is actually, he's fought bantamweight before. This is his first bantamweight fight since 2017 where he won via submission. And little tidbit before we give our pick, AJ, did you know that Raulian Paiva went to college for IT and ended up becoming an MMA fighter? I love those stories. It's just so random. It's like, okay, this dude's like good with computers, and then he's like, all right, I want to punch people in the face instead. I don't know. It's interesting. Give me your pick and why, AJ.
Yeah, man. I think unless Kyler Phillips gets caught being fancy, throwing some crazy stuff, and Paiva is able to take him down or land a crazy left check or something like that, I think Kyler Phillips is going to control the fight and put on a fun show. I do have him as a KO round 3, though. I do think it's going to go a little longer than we're expecting. Maybe not that impressive. But like I said, Kyler Phillips, KO round 3. Who you got and why, Derek?
Man, I'm going Kyler Phillips clearly. The only matter now is how is it going to take place, man. You're saying TKO round 3, and I'm betting on Kyler Phillips to get a show-stopping victory to really, really cement himself in the minds of the casual fans at home. So I'm going TKO round 1, Kyler Phillips. TKO round 1 via some spinning shit. I don't know what kind, man. Hit him with some spinning shit. Hit him with the good old Nate Diaz, right? They say, what's your plan or whatever for this fight? He was all like, piece him up, don't get hit, walk home with a bag full of cash, something along those lines. I think that's got to be the Kyler Phillips approach to this fight, man.